We have Rina with us this morning.
Good
Rina,
morning.
hi. You said this is your first live radio interview.
Yeah, well, in person, yes, I think so. Definitely in the States. This is pretty new to me. I literally just walked in to this room 2 minutes ago and we're starting.
Welcome.
That's how it works.
It's so scary.
No, it
Nah.
isn't. No, it isn't. And we told you you can curse and everything.
Oh yeah, I fucking love that.
Well, don't try
There
that
we
on
go.
terrestrial
There
radio,
we
but
go.
we
I
are.
won't get too used to it.
It's all good. It's all good. Don't do that on the BBC.
Oh no, I won't do that on the
Please.
BBC, love.
So, Rina, one of the things that I love about that track, and by the way, we don't even choose the New Music Friday tracks. We have a guy named Paul Adams who his forte is picking the New Music Friday tracks for us, and he does it every Friday at 8 a.m. And he was like freaking out. He's like, Rena's on the show today. It was just like such kismet. Does it feel like it's a moment for you right now? Because there's like a moment of discovery with us, with Paul. You're in New York City. Is it exciting?
Oh, it's so exciting. It's insane. I mean, we just did the Tonight Show last night, and we
Jimmy
watched it
Fallon
live.
across the street.
Literally across the street, and it kind of, just how quickly this happened just now with, walking in 2 minutes, okay, you're on air, is kind of how the Tonight Show felt like as well. It was just like, okay, boom, 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 let's go. And then it just felt very showbiz. You're like in the heart of the Big Apple. It's your first time. You're on the big screen, baby. That's kind of how it felt. But you know what? I mean, we've just finished a tour of North America, which we've been holding off for 2 years for obvious reasons, and we came back to New York after not touring for about 2-3 years, and sold 7,000 tickets, which is like a lot more than we did last time we were here. And so, it's just incredible. I don't really, I mean, my head's in a spin constantly, and I'm just so grateful. I'm just trying to enjoy every single moment rather than kind of letting it, fly past.
What do you think is the tipping point? Like, why is there so much excitement now? I mean, one of the things Paul said when he was talking about you is that you are from like a hipster ensemble of people like Biba Doobie, who we've had on the show.
love Bee.
There's just a lot of excitement about this group of artists. I guess it's the label that you come from.
Yeah, I mean, we're both signed to Dirty Hit. It's 1975 it's 1975's label. I love 1975. So Jamie Oborn was, who signed me, and I was really looking for a partner, and I like to say partner when I think of labels because I'm kind of, I was at that point I was bringing a full-fledged album to a label to kind of be like, do you want to sign this? I was looking for a partner that would understand, and I was doing so many label meetings, and my litmus test was STFU. This song I have, it's just kind of quite like metal.
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. So, showing that to labels and major labels, especially, they would just be like, oh. And, there was one time where we were quite far down like a contract signing, basically. And one of the labels heard STFU and they were like, oh, we don't like this. Like, genuinely, they said, we don't like this and we're going to terminate legal proceedings now.
Now we know why she was nervous about the cursing. But then we had a number 1 song here in this country very recently called ABCDEFU.
Yes. So cool. I think we're all ready I think we've had a pretty frustrating 2 years. We're all ready to just, shout some curse words.
Let
or
the
whatever.
fucks fly.
Exactly.
And did you say, my F basket is empty, so I'll go to another label? Like, what happens when you're that far down the line and you think you're about to sign it and your dreams are about to come true, and just because of a little F?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I understand that it's a very different direction to what I was doing before, but to me, at that time, especially with my debut, I was like, I want to do something. It just has to be eclectic. It has to, the album, it was a collection of songs that kind of, to me, when I write a song, like, the lyrics and the melody, that's what chooses the genre. Like, it's not, I'm not going in there doing, oh, I'm gonna like do so many different genres because I'm so fucking cool. It's like, I'm like, who is this trying to speak to? STFU. It has to be a metal song. It's saying STFU. But I kind of wanted to flip it and like have like a little JoJo moment in the middle. Like it's just kind of like messing with it a bit and having a bit of fun. And it was total blessing in disguise because then it kind of, it was devastating because at the time I was funding all my music independently and really I was at a point where I was running out of money.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had all these songs, but I was running out of money. Like it costs money to do
And was this money
everything.
coming from like your modeling
My
stuff? Like you were
modeling,
like doing stuff like that to
yes.
is music your ultimate is of all because you're a multi-hyphenate person.
Thank
Is
you.
music your ultimate what you want to do and all those other things or to support that addiction
Oh,
habit?
yeah, 100%. Like I went to like when I went. I mean, I went to university, got a degree in political science, and at Cambridge. And
I
so
know.
my family were
Yes.
like, "Here you go, great. You're going to become a banker or a lawyer," and like off we go, like ready. But what that experience taught me was that I actually don't want to do any of those things, and I have to do
Absolutely. Yeah.
music. Yeah,
But how do
and
you oh, you don't have to pay back the money because it's England, right?
student loans aren't that crazy. At the time, it
Here, if you
was.
went to Harvard Law, like
Oh,
that's
it's
our
insane.
equivalent. It's like no parent would allow you to not have to,
Yeah, to pay
you
that
got to become a
back.
lawyer at least for 10 years.
I understand, yeah. I feel really lucky. At the time that I was going to university, the student fees were capped around the UK. So whatever university you went to, whether it was Cambridge or any other university, it was £3,000 a year, which is about $5,000 a year tuition. That's all you had to pay. And if you were, I was from a single income family, and so I was getting government grants, and Cambridge would match that government grant. And so really wasn't struggling that
I think
much.
this is why Britain has always had better music. I'm an Anglophile.
We're not in serious debt from age
No,
It,
18.
it helps. It
It
helps.
it
definitely
does help.
helps. But after that, the expectation was very high for me to go into a proper job, and I instead did several different part-time jobs, and I didn't. At that point, I was 23, and I didn't want to sign the first deal that came along. I had already seen the bad experiences that other people were going through by doing that, and I'm so grateful that I did that. I worked two jobs, like for about 3 years, I want to say, saved up money, and one of them was modeling. And modeling has never been a passion of mine. It's a very horrible industry. And they can be, I'm not 5'10" or whatever. And so there's a very limited space for me to kind of exist on a campaign. And the competition is fierce, and the way they talk about casting is horrible. And at that time, this was pre Fenty Beauty, and
Not as much diversity.
not as much diversity. There would only be one spot for an Asian person, one spot for a black person. And they would make that very, very obvious. And so it was very, very hard. But without all those experiences, I understand the dynamic of a shoot now completely. And
But it's similar in music because, I've talked to Michelle Zauner of Japanese Breakfast. I hope to talk to Mitski soon. And, one of the things I said to Michelle Zauner is, I'm a very firm believer in you have to see it to be it, right?
definitely.
So it's like, how did you even think pop stardom is open to you? But now you're sitting across from me, you're obviously a star.
Oh my God, thank
No, it's so
you.
true. Your charisma, your style, we love the record. And I think
Thank you.
kids today, they're just like, whatever, I want hot music. But the old fogies at the label, you come in with a curse word and you don't look to them like, the little
Cookie
mix
cutter
people.
version of a pop
Yeah.
star. Yeah.
Yes, and I do think that especially major labels are very much locked into this idea of no one wants to get fired, basically, right? No one wants to take risks. And so they're scared if someone like you has not succeeded before, then how are they going to model you How are they going to
Yeah.
model your
There's
career?
no template.
There's no template.
Yeah.
They don't know. And it's so stupid because it's like, I'm no different to, you know, a white pop artist. Maybe I'm telling different stories, but there's no reason why they can't market me in a similar way. But I think it's just human nature. Maybe they just can't get past that initial, the aesthetic block of whatever, you know, whatever they think is success. So that's probably why I've gone through the experience of, you know, trying lots of different single deals and having those bad experiences with labels and contracts falling through. But now that I've arrived at Dirty Hit, the first thing that Jamie Oborn did when I went in to play STFU, he burst out laughing. He just couldn't stop laughing. And that I know now.
Can you pull that up, Ryan? We need people to hear what
what I'm
was
talking
heard,
about.
what got her out of the first deal, but then got her the Dirty Hit deal. And I was going to ask you about that because I do think sometimes it takes an independent-minded person at an indie to see the talent and to hear the hit.
Yes, I mean, I'm so grateful for him, honestly.
I love it.
Thank you.
And for so many reasons. I mean, we were just saying yesterday how Lizzo, it's bad bitch o'clock. Like, you know, you say these things, right away somebody picks them up. But also the fact that it has this metal to it. And we have a lot of metal fan listeners. We have a lot of hard rock fan listeners. And I think it's even hard for a lot of people to get past the idea of a woman singing that kind of music. So you're this is another day, Ryan, where we're talking about Trojan horse artists. You walk in and people think you are going to sound a certain way. Yeah. You already are tagged with the modeling thing, right? Somebody thinks that you are this product of a producer. Somebody handed you the track and, hey, sweet little pretty girl, would you sing on this? And now you're like, shut the fuck up, and you're singing it to hard metal, right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, that's what I want.
Thank you.
You're fierce.
Thank you. Well, that's what I want, you know, and...
So did you listen to Iron Maiden growing up? What's the situation? How did you get
here? This is the thing. I feel like such a fraud because I didn't. The funny thing is I really didn't grow up with Western music until I was about 11, even though I lived in the UK because the intention was that my parents, when they moved to the UK, that we would go back after 4 or 5 years. And at that time, I don't know if it's still that way, but you could get an indefinite leave visa after...
Right.
5 years, yeah. So it means that, you know, we can stay forever if we want to and work, and we have the same rights other than we can't vote, basically. And that's still the visa that I'm on. We'll get to that in another point because that was the whole thing about the Brits and like Mercury's and why I couldn't get nominated one year. Anyway, so they
really,
yeah. So okay, we'll get into it now. Basically, I have a certain type of visa. Like I said, that means I can't vote, and I'm not a citizen. Technically.
So are you a citizen of Japan?
Yes, I'm a citizen of Japan. Okay. And Japan does not allow dual nationality. And there's several other countries that don't allow it, like Singapore doesn't allow it, and it's not uncommon. But basically, when we were going to register the record for the Mercury Awards, we were rejected because you have to submit your citizenship. And we contacted them and said, hey, this is the situation. I've been living here for 25 years. I've done everything here. I've never lived anywhere else. Except,
and aren't you 26?
I'm 16.
All right, I did the math there, and I was like, -10. Okay. Well, the reason I asked that is because you've been living in the UK almost your entire fucking life.
Yes, exactly. And all I remember is living in London, and this record is from a UK label. I mean, I don't even have to explain it, but
The Mercury's, just in case you're listening, the Mercury Awards, which are a massive award, very critically acclaimed.
Yes.
Serious, even more than a Brit Award. It's
Yes.
very much a critically acclaimed award. Like it's artist with a capital A. You have to be British.
Yes.
But I'm just shocked that in this day and age they haven't, if they hadn't already, bent the rules or changed the rules to include people who've been living in the UK, because we want to be pro-immigrant. We want to be pro-diversity.
Especially post-Brexit.
Right?
Well,
So-
this is what happened. So then,
Otherwise, the winner's going to be Sleaford Mods or something. It's like every year.
well, I mean,
a
no
purity
shade
test.
to the
It's a purity
artists who
test.
win Mercury's. I mean, I just wanted to be included because Mercury's is based on albums. It's not based on, best new artist, best new. It's all about
Right.
it. One album wins it every year. And I've grown up going to record stores, seeing that sticker of Mercury Award winner or Mercury
Big
Award
deal.
nominee, and picking up that record because it has that sticker. And I thought, well, of course, I would love this to be a dream later on. But so what happened was, long story short, we had a conversation with them in the background. He said, "Hey, can you change it?" And they said no. And so I was like gonna leave it, right? I was like, "Well, this sucks. I don't know what to do." Until the nominations came out, and there were articles from like the BBC, the Guardian, who were like the snub list, and I was on them. And so I thought, you know what, this might be kind of like an interesting story to tell, like why I wasn't nominated, and maybe people aren't aware of it. So I did an article with a journalist called Zing, Seng, and she's also has an indefinite leave visa like me, and she's from Singapore. And so we did an interview together, and basically when that interview went out, it went viral. Hashtag Sawayama is British went viral worldwide. And long story short, head of BPI, which is the governing body over like the Brits and the Mercuries, contacted. We had a really great conversation. He was like, "You know what, we're going to change the rules." And we
See?
yeah, so they changed the rules, and I am now from next year eligible for the Mercuries, and I actually got nominated for Rising Star Award for the Brits that year.
Rina, you're changing the world. See, this is the thing. It's more than a song. It's even more than an album. And in this case, it's even bigger than you. You've changed this for people that are walking behind you. You've made us realize that it's not okay to not be inclusive. And the thing is, you didn't say you just moved there last year. I now live in Brixton. Nominate me.
Yeah.
You are as British as any of those other artists being nominated, but maybe you weren't born in a British hospital.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
Listen to
know.
her accent.
I know, listen to the accent. I was also, I've been in the UK longer than some people in the list had been alive. It's one of those things. But I'm so happy that I'm able to have a platform to change
Even though
it.
you're 16.
Even though I'm 16, even though I'm 16. I mean, I feel so lucky that in my 16 years I've been able to make such a big change. But no, it's such a privilege to be able to do that. And actually, the following year, an artist called Berwin, who does not have a citizenship, was nominated for a Mercury. So it's like already things are changing, and it makes me so happy because I'm like, I have a platform, I have a really like active fan base. What can I do? And it's kind of got me really inspired about what else I can do and what else I can lend my voice to. And there's a lot of things I'm passionate about, but yeah, that was just the amazing starting point. And I didn't, it's really easy to get like pissed off at Twitter and Instagram, and I did like in the last 2 years, especially during pandemic, I just couldn't go on those. It just was too much,
Yeah.
like. But I think it's time to just come back in and try, whether it's not Twitter or something, but it's just trying to find a really smart way to make a change. And with my songwriting, I'm always trying to kind of include some interesting messaging in pop. And for example, like This Hell, I mean, the choruses I always like to keep universal and understandable and cheeky and fun, but the verses I like to keep personal, or it's storytelling. And with this one especially, I had so much fun because I was listening to so much like country pop music, and what I love about country pop is it tells a story. from start to
Yes.
finish, and it's a very satisfying story. And that when I was writing the album, and the people, people around me were like, second album time, and it was mid-lockdown. I was still promoting the first one, hadn't toured the first one, which is a really important part of the process, I think, to get it out of your head and see what works on stage, see what works with the audience. I hadn't been able to do that. Trying to go into a second album, very tricky, no inspiration, hadn't seen people, how everyone was feeling. But when Taylor Swift released fucking Folklore and she was writing songs about made up shit, I was like, you know what? I can do this.
Yes.
Right on.
I don't need to experience things in real life. And that this is my job. Like, I'm a songwriter. I need to pull shit out of my head and just do it and stop complaining. And I did it. And when I basically listened to that, and then I read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Which
oh my God, one of my favorite books of all time.
Great. Oh, I love that book.
Big Magic is about the idea that fear is false evidence appearing real, that make friends with fear.
Yes. So I read that, and it unblocked my creative block, and I basically wrote half of the album in 1 month, and then right after that, I got the offer to be in John Wick 4. And so I went to Berlin for 3 months to shoot that, came back, finished the rest of the record, and yeah, here I am, basically. So I was like, honestly, Big Magic, Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Probably big influences for my record, weirdly.
I have one last question. Going back to the idea of what you did, that you spoke up, that you helped change the rules for the Mercury. My question is this. We're talking about shut the fuck up, right? How many people told you shut the fuck up, don't complain, don't go out there and make a big deal against the Mercuries.
Don't do this interview.
Don't do this interview. It could mess things up for you.
Even the people I love were quite scared, I would say. But the risk for me was I would forever be in the international female category. And that would be my only spot for the rest of my career.
And you'd always wonder.
Oh, you would always wonder. And that would be my slot for the rest of my career in the UK. And I was like, I'm ready to forfeit that and get blacklisted because this is stupid and stupid things shouldn't exist. And so let's change it. And there were, definitely people on my team who were like, are you sure you want to do this? I don't think you should talk about it too much. I don't think you should make it any bigger than it is. And luckily, the same people are also amazing at their jobs and know exactly how to tell the story, how to make sure that I'm not saying something stupid on Twitter. Because if I hadn't had that advice, I might have just gone, hey guys, the reason why I wasn't nominated is because of this, and just like shaded Mercuries and the Brits on Twitter, and then nothing would have happened,
True. All right, we have to take a break, but thank you, Rina Sawayama. We're freaking out about her right now. We're going to put all this stuff up on our socials. So if people don't know who she is.
Paul Adams, our New Music Friday guy, is listening in, salivating because he's such a huge fan.
Oh, thank
and this
you,
interview
Paul.
was amazing.
Thank you.
Remember us when you're massive.
Oh my God. Love you guys. Thank you.
All right, everybody else, stay right there.
Feedback returns in just a moment.